How's it going, YouTube? So I have my dad's 2013 Ram 1500 sitting at my house, and it's the version that takes this little key where it's not quite keyless, but it's also not a full key. I came in here to start it this morning and noticed the key's in, the door's open, there's no dinging. The truck is not responding to the key at all. The lights work, the horn works. I can take this, and when you lock the door, it does that fine. Everything's good, so it's not a battery issue, but the key is not starting. I looked this up online, and it's almost guaranteed to be this little assembly here. So it's not that hard to replace. You pull this whole piece out, and you can get to this. But what I want to see is there's a single plug going to this assembly. Is there a chance that the plug's just bad? So I'm going to try to reach up under there and see if I can find where the piece plugs into the back of it and see if that fixes my issue. I'll leave my key plugged in so that if it fixes it, we'll know. And one thing I want to show here if it stops is these needles are like lighting up red, I think right there. So if I push this, they do that even with just my finger. So that means that it's not detecting the key, it's only detecting that that's been pushed in some. So it knows there's something plugged in here, which means that that cable that I was talking about checking is probably plugged in on the back, but it just has no detection of the key. Looking online, sometimes this can be a sporadic thing, sometimes it can just happen and immediately, like what appears to happen here. I've tried to start it several times and it just seems like I'm not getting anywhere with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot real quick. Okay, so I just stuck my hand up under here and you can kind of feel back to where it's supposed to be. And that did not change anything of the situation. I definitely believe, I also knocked on it a couple times, you know, just gave it a couple good smacks to see if we could get something to detect, and still nothing. So it's probably the detection piece that's in there. That's what people online say. The part's not that expensive. I think I saw one version for like 60 bucks, saw it somewhere else for 140. I'll just have to see what the local parts store has. So I'm gonna go ahead and run down, taking another vehicle, see if I can't pick up one of these today. And once I have this, then it should be a pretty quick replacement. My dad was asking me about bringing it over to his place so we could replace it. So there's a chance I can just unplug that wire, plug it into the new one down here, and put the key down here for it to turn the truck on. That should work perfectly fine. And then I can drive it over there and we can replace it, or I might just replace it here, depending on what he's got going on later today. So we'll see what happens. So this here's the piece that we were expecting to replace in the truck, and it came with a new key. So I guess this piece is coded to the key. There's some conflicting information about that online. And what we were running into last time was you put this in, you have nothing. My door's open, it should be dinging, it's not. Well, before we replaced that, my dad brought out the spare key, which works. Key and ignition, starts the truck up. So it's weird because the RFID to unlock the truck with the key, like it locks and unlocks fine, so that ship's fine. But I guess maybe he was saying possibly a different signal to start the truck. We're not really sure, but the key was the issue. So I think you'll probably take it to the dealer, see if you can get it reprogrammed cheap, and just see what's going on. But for now,
the spare key doesn't always work. Even I've replaced the batteries, but it doesn't always lock and unlock. So that's why I had a new key anyway.
Gotcha. Well,
and keep in mind that does mean that that's not the original key, so it's aftermarket, and who knows.
Yeah. So it could be other issues, maybe with the aftermarket quality of the key, or. But regardless, we don't have to tear the truck apart. Since the ignition switch is a known bad problem, we'll go ahead and keep it in a box in case it does go out down the road. But that wraps this up much quicker than we were expecting to.
Count it a blessing.
Yeah, so that's where we're going to go ahead and end off. Check your keys. That's the moral of this story. And that ignition switch is also a known issue if your backup key doesn't work. Or if you don't have a backup key, we could have put that module in and then it would have worked, because it should have the key programmed to that module with it. Yep. But all in all, an easy resolution, and that's where we'll call it. Thanks for watching.